creatine is one of the most tested, researched, proven to be effective supplements out there. But science also shows that there are a couple of things that we can do to maximize muscle growth, to maximize your strength, and also to maximize the benefits that you get, not just physically, but mentally as well. In this video, I'm going to give you the mini masterclass on everything you've ever needed to know about creatine and how to best use it. So let's go straight into it. So the first thing you should know about creatine is what type of creatine should you actually use? And you've probably heard a million times before, there's a simplest, most tested, old, if you will, version of creatine called the creatine monohydrate. Now, bunch of supplements companies are, they're making billions of dollars out of these supplements, so they're trying to take something that's very basic and that has always worked, by the way, and add a bunch of other things because creatine on its own is very inexpensive, so they can't really make that much money or profits out of it. So they figured out if they add some kind of thing into the, creatine monohydrate, mix it up with this or that, or make some magical other version of it, then they can charge 5, even 10 times more for that quote-unquote enhanced version of creatine compared to the regular one. Guess what? The meta-analysis done on this in 2021 showed they basically compared a bunch of types of creatine and they all created the same results because creatine monohydrate was the base for all of it. So every other thing that they added to it did absolutely nothing better. They had the same exact results, same exact improvements, but some of these cost 5 to 10 times more than the regular monohydrate. So what should you use? Basic creatine monohydrate, ideally with nothing in it. Unless you prefer paying 10 times more for something that causes the same results, then go for it. I mean, nothing wrong with that. But creatine monohydrate is where it's at. Another question that I commonly get that everybody wants to know is creatine supplementation going to actually help with weight loss? Am I going to lose more weight because I'm taking creatine? And the answer is no, you definitely will not. It's not a weight loss supplement. It's a muscle, or rather performance enhancement supplement, a legal one, okay? It's ergogenic, it just helps perform. You get a few more reps in the gym and burn 3 calories more because of that, like it's gonna take 17,000 years to lose weight by using that, so it's definitely not a thing for us. If you really want to lose weight, remember, always focus on your diet, not on your exercise. Since creatine is an exercise supplement, by default, it doesn't really help weight loss. By the way, if you'd like to lose some weight and you wanna proven process from A to Z, exactly knowing what to do, when to do, and how to do it, go check out ripceo.com. That is the program that I put together after 17 years as a coach, 1,200 clients transformed. Go check that out. And if you'd like to be coached one-on-one by me, then go check out the link right below this video. You can see the exact process that I used, A to Z, the whole process that I used to transform 1,200 clients so far. Nothing held back. It's literally all there. And then if that makes sense, what you see, book a call. You can click that red button there, book a call, and we can talk about how to get you in absolute top shape, build you a strong, sexy, awesome looking, healthy body in record time. Fact number 2 about creatine is how much should you take? Now, here we know that the usual dose is 3 to 5 grams per day. And now we actually do know, some scientific studies show there is such a thing as not enough creatine, meaning if you take 1 gram per day, which one study showed that after taking 1 gram per day for a year, nothing happened, there were no improvements. Another study showed that taking 2 grams a day, this was in female swimmers, they actually did for 6 months, did not prove their swimming performance whatsoever at all. So basically, there is such a thing as not enough creatine in the supplement that you're taking. That's how we came up with 3 grams. Now, the usual dose is 3 to 5 grams. Again, there was a study comparing 3 grams to 5 grams that basically showed that they caused the same exact improvements. Therefore, very likely for 99% of the people out there, 3 grams a day is more than enough. I would say if you are a larger individual, let's say I'm 6'2", 220 pounds, maybe because you're physically larger and have a bit more muscle than somebody who's 180 pounds, 160 pounds, you might actually benefit a little bit from taking maybe up to 5 grams. But generally speaking, anywhere between 3 to 5 grams is absolutely fine. You're going to cover all your bases and be just fine. Like if you don't mind taking 5, just take 5. If you are somewhere there and you take like 4 grams a day, you're probably like 99.99% chance that you're going to get all the benefits you can from 4 grams a day. Third thing, one of the most common questions about creatine is, should I actually creatine load? So creatine loading is a thing that came probably from the bodybuilding circles, where it's like, oh, listen, your muscles are normally naturally producing, we are naturally producing creatine, and the level of creatine in your muscles is usually about 70%. So you can get about 30% increase from supplementation. And in order to get that much, you would need like 2 pounds of raw meat every day, which nobody's going to eat, hence the supplement. So here's the thing with loading. The loading is generally taking about 20 grams per day. So you take a dose of 5 grams 4 times a day, and you do that for about a week, and you're going to saturate all of the tissues, especially muscle tissue, to the max level in a week. If you don't do that, and you just take the normal 3 to 5 grams a day dose, it's going to take about 3 to 4 weeks to saturate your tissues. Now, since creatine is absolutely safe, there's no side effects that are serious. We're going to talk about them in a second here, but not really anything bad, nor is it really bad for your kidneys or liver, not at all, unless you have some kidney or liver disease already. So it's really completely safe, and you should be taking it forever. There's no reason not to take it. It's inexpensive, it's safe, it works, it's actually effective. Why not take it? Let me ask you a question. If you're going to take creatine for the rest of your life, let's say you're 40 years old and you're going to take it for the next 50 or 60 years, does it actually matter if you saturate your muscle tissue with creatine in 1 week or in 3 weeks, given that you're going to take it for the next 50 years? It doesn't matter at all. So there's absolutely no need to creatine load at all. Just skip all that. And actually, one reason to not do that is 20 grams a day is a really high dose. It's very actually commonly reported in the studies when people take that much that they actually have stomach upset and serious stomach problems from that. It's just too much. So why do that? Not say that that would happen to everybody, but at least 30 to 40% of participants in some studies showed stomach discomfort and they couldn't continue because it was just too much. Why risk that when you really gain nothing from, instead of 1 week, I'm going to saturate my tissues in 3 weeks. What does it matter, right? Again, this is a long-term game. You're not going to get anything in 3 weeks or in 1 week. This is by the way, the fourth thing, how much improvement can you actually expect? Anywhere between 2 and 5 pounds of muscle is likely what you're going to gain in the next several months of using that, and you're just going to keep your tissue saturated forever by using that 3 to 5 grams a day forever. Next thing, the timing of creatine. Should you take it before or after the workout? It literally, remember, creatine is ergogenic, which simply means it's a performance enhancement supplement. It gives you a bit more performance because it's giving you energy, and therefore, theoretically you could say, well, it should probably be taken before the workout because it gives me energy. However, that energy is given over a long period of time, not instantly, and therefore, one study actually showed that there were somewhat better results from taking creatine post-workout compared to pre-workout. So in other words, it doesn't really matter when you take creatine. What matters is that you do take it. And when we talk about, especially taking it pre-workout, which most people think is the best thing to do, please remember, there seems to be an effect, or rather a cancellation effect between caffeine and creatine. They're both performance enhancers, they're stimulants, and therefore, as such, they seem to have some kind of effect between them that cancels each other out. There was one of the really smart PhD researchers compared 5 different studies where they took creatine, and in 4 out of 5, they found actual enhancement. The creatine alone improved performance. On 5 other ones where they combined caffeine and creatine, in none of them, 0 of these found actual performance enhancement. Therefore, they canceled each other out. Now, this isn't set in stone. We can't really say, at least at this period of time when I'm making this video, we can't say 100% caffeine and creatine cancel each other out or balance each other out so there's no effect. However, I would suggest separating your caffeine intake and your creatine intake. So for example, let's say you're using a pre-workout of some sort and it does contain caffeine. Definitely do not have creatine with that, or I suggest not having it. Have your creatine several hours after the workout. How could you use creatine? You can just add it in a protein shake, mix it up. Also, some studies have shown that there is a somewhat better effect if you combine creatine with carbs and or protein or both. So if you have protein, some carbs, and creatine, and you can just mix that, especially if you're not using caffeine in your pre-workouts, for example. In that case, you can absolutely have this as a pre-workout shake. You just have some whey protein, a banana, and some creatine, and some water, and there you go. You have a perfect pre-workout, and it's going to be effective. It's going to actually give you a boost, and since it doesn't have caffeine, you're going to get the effects from creatine, so that's probably the best way to use it if you're not using caffeine before the workout. If you are, then just separate your creatine in some other time after the workout, several hours after that. Also, I mentioned side effects. Side effects of creatine really come down to stomach upset. That's really the biggest thing that most people report. And this is, some percentage of people are going to be somewhat more sensitive to creatine than others. And especially if taking higher doses, in that case, it's actually going to be, probably a good idea not to take it. If you're one of those that you really get upset stomach from creatine, then just, ditch it. It's not a big deal anyway. And then the final thing that's been a really, really interesting topic lately in the last 2 years, it's been, mental and health benefits that you get from taking creatine. Now, here's what the studies show. If you are a healthy young individual, creatine levels in your brain are already going to be pretty saturated. So the increase in performance that you get in your muscles by supplementing versus your brain from supplementing are vastly different, meaning it's a much more effective, the rate of benefit is much higher for muscles than it is for the brain, simply because, think about it, creatine gives you energy. So if we deprive the brain of energy, it's catastrophic. Therefore, the body is really regulating creatine levels in the brain pretty good. So if you get supplementation of a really high dose, like 20 grams a day, like in the loading phase, you might actually get 5 to 10% increase in creatine levels and performance enhancement of the brain, which is really not that much. On the other hand, for muscle, it can be up to 30%. Which is significant. So in short, if you're a young and healthy individual, really high doses of creatine, very unlikely to affect your brain creatine levels or brain enhancement in any way. Where it actually does show benefits is for elderly individuals, 65 or 60 years or older, people who have some kind of brain-related disease, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, something like that, and people who generally have age-related cognitive decline. Again, older people, and finally, people who are sleep deprived. So you could be younger, but for some reason in your life you are now sleep deprived. Creatine actually can help. Other than that, it's actually very unlikely that supplementing creatine, even again these really high doses, is going to do anything. So I wouldn't really count on that much. I would just stick to taking 3 to 5 grams a day for your muscle, strength and muscle gains benefit, because that actually works and is effective. That's it. Everything you ever needed to know about creatine. Now, guys, if you'd like to actually lose 20 or 50 pounds and get in top shape without starvation, cardio, or giving up carbs, go check out rippedceo.com. If you'd like to consider being coached one-on-one by me, check out the link below. There is a clear and simple explanation of how I help transform over 1,200 clients. And if that makes sense to you, you can click that red button on that page, book a call, and we can talk about how to get you in the best shape ever. Thanks, guys, for watching. See you next time.